Hey guys, welcome. So I've come out to this spot where I had my 2009 contact stroke awakening experience that I've talked about a little in this series so far, to talk about what I'm not quite sure to call this video, but it would probably be titled something like metaphysical magic. Like, there are really no words in our language to describe this kind of experience. I'm sure there are, actually. Maybe like after you've listened to my story about the incredible things that happen surrounding the contact experience, the incredible synchronicity, we might call it, the incredible timeline shifts. I don't know what we would call it. Let me know what you would call it after I've told the story. So prior to this contact stroke awakening experience I had here on the September equinox of 2009, it was my birthday weekend, my 33rd birthday weekend. I think I told all these three stories already, the three synchronistic. And so on the first day of this 3-day birthday weekend celebration that culminated in the contact stroke awakening experience, I followed my highest excitement to go to Amsterdam for the weekend on the ferry. So it was like kind of really a powerful impulse, highest excitement at the last minute. And so it must have been the day of my birthday on the Saturday, I think, or was it on the I don't know the exact day, but something like this. And it might have been the Friday, I'm not sure. September, I think it was my birthday date, September the 18th. Anyway, so I drove my car to the ferry port in Hull from here, like in Lincolnshire, to Hull ferry port, and got the ferry across the sea to Rotterdam and then to Amsterdam. And so something really strange happened, like driving to the ferry port from Lincoln. And what happened was, like, every traffic light as I approached it turned green. Like, so if you're a driver, you'll know that, like, when you're driving, like, it's not very often, in fact almost never, like if you go through like a dozen or more traffic lights on a 90-minute journey, like, what are the chances of them all being green as you drove through them? But it wasn't just that, it was like totally strange and surreal. Like, as I approached every traffic light, it wasn't just green, it would, every single one of them, I don't know how many I went through, like from between Lincoln and Hull, but there must have been quite a lot. I don't know, a dozen, 10, a dozen, I'm estimating. And every one, as I approached it, it went like red, amber, green, and I'd drive through, like exactly the same timing. It'd, like, I'd just be approaching it, and just as I like saw it, it'd go red, amber, green, and I'd go through, and it go, and the next one, red, amber, green, and I'd go through. And then, like, by the time I got to Hull and this was still happening, like, my jaw was like this. I was like, what the bleep is going on? This is not normal. And I remember the time, it just went 3:33, I noticed it then. And so I remember also driving over the Humber Bridge, like a big suspension bridge over the Humber estuary out to the sea. And I was driving over it in my car, and like, it was dead still, like still as a mill pond. It was like there was not a ripple on the water, and there's all this steam rising off it. And I was driving over the Humber Bridge in this kind of, like, I was already entering this kind of high state. I believe now that ETs were kind of around and observing me, because this, you very often see in the movies the idea of steam or mist, the mystical experience involved with extraterrestrial contact experiences. And I think this is what was occurring, like the ET craft were like around, and it was affecting, like, the Humber Bridge. They were probably tracking me, because I've seen this more than once. I saw it in Peru when the ETs came in close once. Like, all of a sudden this mist came in out of nowhere. I think there's somehow their consciousness affects our reality, our it changes, because they exist in this higher dimension of reality, And when the shifts come into our dimension of reality, everything changes, because they don't have all this crazy mind, noise, fear, like worry-based mind tick-tacking all day. They have dead silent minds. And because they have dead silent minds, they have like zero thoughts, from what I understand, or they can choose to have zero thoughts. I'm not sure if they even have thoughts like us at all, really. And so if you've ever spent time with a spiritual master, a Zen master or something like this, and you've been in their presence and you felt like Eckhart Tolle or Muji, someone like this, you felt that they have the ability to completely stop their mind, and there's like this aura of like silence around them that can be intoxicating. And I think why so many people are drawn to these teachers, and you can like feel the palpable silence. And so like it's even more profound, and like you maybe sensed it in the last video, actually, the when I went out into the field and did the evening CE5 or the evening contact meditation, and this profound silence came. Can you remember it in the video? And I was like, guys, can you feel the silence? Can you feel the stillness? Hear a mosquito. I'm glad I put my trousers on. I had my shorts on before. Maybe it's not a mosquito, I don't know what it is. High-pitched noise. And so, yeah, and like that, I think that the profound stillness of the ETs that you can probably sense now is affects reality, and it's like that aura, because everything is a reflection of us here. Everything is a reflection of our energetic vibrational field. And so when I was driving over that bridge that day, over the Humber Bridge, and there's this strange stillness around, and all the mist was rising off the water, and there wasn't a ripple on the water. I think this was the ET's consciousness, like merging with my consciousness, and collectively we were co-creating this incredibly like still, what some people may call like eerie atmosphere and reality. And anyway, so fast forwarding to what I was kind of talking about, like I guess this is part of this metaphysical magic, because I'm probably going to turn the video, because I don't know what else to call it when reality like changes and all these strange things start happening. Like, share in the message below if you've ever had any strange mystical experiences like this. I'm also thinking of the Mists of Avalon. Like, you maybe read the book The Mists of Avalon, or this idea that like Avalon was which is now Glastonbury, the heart chakra or throat chakra of the world, depending on who you listen to. Bashar says throat chakra, locals say heart chakra, but it used to be Avalon, which is where like King Arthur and Merlin and the high priestesses of Avalon were located. And they talk about how the mists of Avalon, like to actually get into Avalon, it was around Glastonbury Tor, somewhere like that, I think. Like normally it just looked like Glastonbury Tor, but like if you were able to, because it used to be an island, I think, Glastonbury Tor, and there used to be water around it, and you'd like row your boat out it across it, but you go into another dimension, and like Avalon was actually in another dimension of reality, like parallel to Earth, and the kind of the mists of Avalon. I think this is the same experience. And so yeah, so fast forwarding, like back after I had like this contact stroke awakening experience, I just remember it as an awakening experience, but I'm fairly certain I actually had contact with the ETs at the same time. And yeah, after I had the experience, like all these military aircraft appeared again, like the first time in 2009, but they were higher up and it wasn't so obvious. But I kind of got paranoid that they were there because of me for some reason, and like really paranoid. I knew something profound had happened, and it kind of like when you have these powerful experiences, it pulls up like subconscious fears from movies and stuff. Like the idea that if you have contact with ETs, you're going to be like taken by the military and taken to some like secret base and have tests done on you. It's all kind of like stuff like this. You may laugh now listening to this, but you won't believe like what's kind of subconscious fears we have within us. That when our consciousness expands and we go into these like interdimensional higher states of consciousness, any fears that are still in our unconscious will rapidly come to the surface. And this is why the ETs are very, very hesitant about having physical contact with us, because they know that if we're not ready for it, it can cause like psychosis. Like it can be too much for us. It's almost too much for me, not quite. And but I got like really paranoid, and there was this fear, and there's all these military aircraft around, and they were probably there because like I had this experience, and they picked up like the UFO, the ET ship on radar, and but I kind of freaked out at one point, and I felt like I needed to get out of here. Fast, just in case. And so like I asked myself like what would it came out this like what would the Mysticon people do? The Mysticons or the Mysterons. Who were the Mysterons? Some movie or something. The Mysterons. I think they were from when the Mysterons from one of those puppet things that were really strange. Have you seen like the Thunderbirds and like Captain Scarlet and all that? I swear they were like secretly like stories about like breakaway secret space program civilizations. It went 11:11 on the clock as I saw that as well, so it's a sign it's true. You hear about how we have a secret space program, and like there's all like this kind of like a Richard Dolan, as someone sometimes called it, like a breakaway civilization that's like got so much money, and they're like deeply embedded in the military industrial complex. These companies like Boeing and Raytheon and Lockheed Martin that are secretly reverse engineering the extraterrestrial craft. It's like some of these people that work on this, like I'm sensing into the energy of this now. I didn't even know I should go here, but like but I do feel that like the stories of Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet were like about the Mysterons, when the Mysterons from Captain Scarlet were like stories about the secret space program and these like breakaway civilizations of these elite people that have so much money, and they drive these super advanced cars, but they also have jobs driving super advanced. I used to call it 4D negative, fourth density negative. Let's not call it negative. Let's call it fourth density, not quite in full alignment. Like super advanced, like high tech military craft. They're interdimensional, and I remember like once when I had this this contact experience. Like I told you about the story of when I had like a physical like a contact experience with my friend, and he was grounding, and like we won't admit it ever since, and like I think I talked about this, and I asked him 3 times if he could feel the energy, and he was like earthing and grounding, and like I went back to that spot a few days later, and I was feeling into the energy of it, and all of a sudden this black helicopter just like appeared, just like peeked over the top of the trees, similar trees to here, and it like just peeked over the top of the trees, like looked at me, turned around and went back. And I'm like, what is going on here? And you hear all these stories about some of these black helicopters are actually like interdimensional. They have teleportation capabilities. I don't know. It was weird, like how this black helicopter just came out of nowhere. Like when I went to the spot where we saw the sighting just a few days later. Strange stuff starts happening, guys, when you get into the contact. Stay centered, stay in your heart. Like nothing. Only positive things have come from this for me. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to worry. And anyway, so I'm here, and I'm tapped into my infinite consciousness, and I have access to any information that's necessary to me in the moment. This is what happens when you like really expand into your higher chakras, higher dimensions of reality. You have access to infinite information and can access any information that's relevant for you in the moment. And I said to myself, like, what would the Mysticon people do, or something like this. I think this was not necessarily their name. It was just a name I was using to connect with. I knew what they were, though. They were an ancient race of beings that walked on Earth, but they were more like non-physical entities. They were like higher dimensional entities that existed many thousands of years ago. And anyway, the thought I got was, just believe that the forest will open up in front of you, and it will. And because I was in this heightened state of consciousness from the contact awakening experience, I knew it was real, and I had no doubt. So I was like, okay, I believe the forest is going to open up in front of me if I run full speed through it, and I don't need to even worry about running into a tree. I'm just going to run full. And I was in dense forest. It was more dense than here, or I don't know, maybe similar density. But look at that. You know what I mean? Can you imagine being in dense forest like this, and you just try to run full speed in a straight line? I literally ran in a completely straight line. I didn't have to dodge anything. I ran full speed in a dead straight line through dense forest, similar density to this, and it all just opened up in front of me. Like, I didn't bump into a single tree. It was insane. It was completely crazy. It was like I just believed that the forest would open up in front of me and I would be okay. And because I'm in this higher dimensional reality, I was kind of like in 5D, like full 5D, full fourth density consciousness from the contact experience, and which I don't remember. I've talked about this a little, and if you see the other videos in the series, it will all make sense. And yeah, and I just said to myself, okay, I trust that the forest is going to open up in front of me, and it's kind of a portal, PowerPoint interdimensional portal here anyway. Like, I can feel it now. And I did, and I ran like, I don't know, like half a mile through the forest, quarter of a mile through the forest, full speed, just sprinted straight through the forest. Like, I mean, it's impossible. It's not possible to sprint through a forest like this, full speed, even if you dodge stuff, but definitely not in a straight line. I ran a straight line, full sprint, full speed out of the forest, and it just opened up in front of me. It was completely magical. It was like something out of a movie. Like, I don't know, the movie, like with Aslan the lion, what's it called? I don't know, it always comes to mind. I've never really watched it since I had these downloads, but anyway, guys, so that's the story. So yeah, like it's totally mind-blowing, like what happens, like how reality is like nothing like we think it is. It's completely nothing like we think it is. It's all just a dream of consciousness. And as we begin, and like, I don't know what to say, guys. I don't know what to say. It's completely crazy. It's completely like nothing like you imagined. I mean, people talk about how you can like use the law of attraction, but like, we're only just beginning to get a grip on how we create our reality and how this is all an illusion. Now we can use the power of the illusion to like literally like shift the matrix. Peace.